Luxury once meant restraint, confidence without noise. Cars built to impress engineers, not algorithms. For a brief moment, automakers chased something rare, perfection that aged slowly. These machines ruled highways and parking lots alike. Smooth engines, cabins wrapped in silence. Materials chosen to last decades, not lease cycles. They weren't cheap, they weren't flashy, but they earned loyalty. But then, the world shifted. Screens grew larger, complexity multiplied, trends replaced timelessness. Many of these cars vanished quietly, not because they failed, but because they refused to change fast enough. Few realized it at the time, but this era marked the peak of affordable luxury done right. Cars that still feel new, even after 20 years. So how did these forgotten sedans outlast the future? Let's count them down. Number 10. Infiniti G35 3.5-liter V6. A luxury car born from Nissan's golden age of ambition, yet quietly forgotten by time. When it arrived, the G35 shocked everyone. Rear-wheel drive, nearly 300 horsepower. A chassis tuned by people who still cared about steering feel. It wasn't supposed to feel this alive. And for a while, it ruled. Fast enough to embarrass Germans. Reliable enough to daily drive without fear. Inside, real leather. Simple buttons. Gauges you could read at a glance. It felt modern before modern became complicated. But then, tastes changed. Tech exploded. Touchscreens replaced tactility. The G35 faded from conversations not because it failed, but because it refused to chase trends. Few realized it at the time, but this was one of the last affordable luxury sedans that still felt mechanical. Honest. Human. Recommended year, 2005. Praised for reliability and balance. And yet, if this is number 10, imagine what kind of legends are still ahead. Number 9. Acura TL 3.2-liter V6. It was one of the best-selling luxury sedans in America, and also one of the most misunderstood. The Acura TL didn't chase drama. It chased perfection, smooth power, rock-solid reliability, an interior built for real life, not showroom flash. At its peak, it dominated driveways and parking lots everywhere. Comfortable enough for long nights. Quick enough to feel proud at stoplights. The cabin wrapped around the driver like it actually cared. Leather that aged slowly. Buttons that still click with confidence. But then, a shadow followed it. Early transmission problems. Internet horror stories. The reputation took the hit, even after Acura quietly fixed the issue. Few realized it at the time, but the later TLs became something special. Calm, trustworthy, almost impossible to wear out if maintained. Recommended year, 2007, widely praised for improved reliability. And yet, this is still just number 9. The next car proves quiet luxury can feel even more timeless. Number 8. Volvo S60 Turbocharged Inline-5. A car built around safety that secretly knew how to stir the soul. Volvo's reputation was ironclad. Airbags, crumple zones, calm reassurance on 4 wheels. But few expected the S60 to feel this confident, this composed, this quietly fast. At its height, it offered something rare. Turbo power with character. Seats sculpted like they were designed by human spines, not spreadsheets. A cabin that whispered instead of shouted. It didn't try to impress, it simply endured. And yet, it lived in the shadow of flashier rivals. No bragging rights, no badge flex, just quiet competence. Over time, buyers moved on. Touchscreens arrived. Design trends shifted. The S60 slipped out of the spotlight. Few realized it then, but this was one of the last Volvos built before complexity took over. Honest engineering, long-lasting materials, a car that still feels solid decades later. Recommended year, 2006, known for reliability improvements. And if this understated survivor ranks 8th, The next one proves luxury can feel even more composed. Number 7. Audi A6 3.0-liter V6. It was engineered for the Autobahn, yet most of them spent their lives crawling through traffic. The Audi A6 arrived with quiet confidence, clean lines, bank-grade interiors, a sense of control that made speed feel effortless. It didn't shout luxury, it whispered precision. At its peak, the A6 felt years ahead. Soft touch surfaces everywhere. Doors that closed with a muted thud. Highway stability so calm it erased distance. This was the car for people who valued composure over flash. But then, reality crept in. Complex electronics, costly maintenance, ownership stories that scared off second buyers. As newer Audis leaned harder into screens and sharp edges, this generation slipped into the background. Few realized it at the time, but this was Audi at its most balanced. Modern, but not overwhelming. Technical, yet still human. Recommended year 2006, praised for refinement and improved reliability. And if this feels like quiet confidence, the next car takes driver engagement to another level. Number 6. BMW 5 Series, Inline 6. It was a driver's car wrapped in executive tailoring, yet it arrived during BMW's most controversial design era. When this 5 Series debuted, it shocked purists. New lines, new tech, a future-forward vision that felt almost too bold. At its best, it was brilliant, steering alive with feedback, a chassis that danced despite its size. The Inline 6 sang smoothly, effortlessly, mile after mile. Inside, everything faced the driver. Purposeful, serious, built for people who still believed driving mattered. But then, complexity crept in. Early electronics confused owners. Maintenance costs scared off second-hand buyers. The headlines focused on what went wrong, not what endured. Few realized it at the time, but this was one of the last BMW sedans engineered before comfort fully overtook connection. Balanced, athletic, still rewarding decades later if cared for properly. Recommended year 2006, widely regarded as the sweet spot for reliability and refinement. And yet, the next car proves that true luxury doesn't need to feel sporty to feel unforgettable. Number 5. Mercedes-Benz E-Class 3.5-liter V6. It was built like a vault, yet lived through an era that tested Mercedes' reputation. For decades, the E-Class stood for something unshakable. Comfort without effort, authority without noise. A car that didn't rush because it didn't need to. At its peak, this generation felt unstoppable. The ride floated but never drifted. The cabin insulated the world into silence. Switches felt weighted. Doors closed with certainty. This was luxury that assumed it would last. But then, corners were cut elsewhere. Electronics aged poorly. Ownership costs scared off casual buyers. The headlines spoke louder than the truth, and the E-Class slipped from its pedestal. Few realized it then, but a well-kept example still delivers something rare today. Calm confidence, mechanical dignity. The feeling of being carried, not driven. Recommended year 2006, regarded as one of the most reliable and refined versions. And if this is comfort perfected, the next car shows how luxury can feel almost invisible. Number 4. Lexus ES330 3.3-liter V6. It was dismissed as boring, yet outlived almost everything that mocked it. The Lexus ES330 never chased headlines. No sharp edges, no aggressive stance, just a quiet promise of comfort, kept day after day, year after year. At its height, it defined effortless luxury. The engine whispered instead of roared. The ride erased potholes like they were never there. Inside, the cabin aged slowly. Soft leather. Simple controls. Nothing to relearn, nothing to fight. But then, the world changed. Sportiness became the new status symbol. Screens grew larger, designs got louder. The ES was labeled invisible and left behind. Few realized it at the time, but this car mastered something rare. Stress-free ownership, predictable reliability, luxury that didn't demand attention, only appreciation. Recommended year, 2006, often cited as one of the most dependable luxury sedans ever built. And yet, if this is quiet perfection, the next car proves underrated flagships can feel shockingly modern. Number 3. Acura RL, 3.5-liter V6 with AWD. It was Acura's flagship, yet almost no one noticed. The RL arrived packed with innovation, all-wheel drive that thought ahead, technology that worked quietly in the background, materials chosen for longevity, not applause. At its peak, it was ahead of its time. Confident in bad weather, smooth on long highways, the cabin felt dense, insulated, intentional. Every feature had a purpose. Nothing begged for attention. But then, it faced the wrong rivals. Germans offered drama. Lexus offered serenity. The RL offered balance. And balance, somehow, was easy to ignore. Sales faded. The name slipped into obscurity. Few realized it then, but this was one of the most over-engineered sedans Acura ever built. Subtle, durable, still feeling surprisingly current 2 decades later. Recommended year, 2006, praised for long-term reliability and mature refinement. And if this hidden flagship ranks third, the next car proves some designs age so well they feel timeless. Number 2. Lexus GS 3.0 or 4.3-liter V6 V8. It looked modern before modern had a definition, yet it arrived quietly without fanfare. The Lexus GS was a turning point, sharper lines, a tighter stance. Luxury that finally leaned toward confidence instead of caution. At its peak, it felt perfectly judged. The ride balanced comfort and control. The steering felt composed, not numb. Inside, the cabin blended durability with restraint. Real materials, logical layout. Nothing flashy, nothing cheap. It aged like architecture, not fashion. But then, the spotlight shifted. SUVs rose. Sedans faded. The GS didn't disappear because it failed. It disappeared because the market moved on. Few realized it at the time, but this generation of GS nailed the sweet spot. Reliable like a Lexus. Engaging enough to surprise you. Still feeling current when many rivals feel dated. Recommended year, 2006. Widely praised for long-term reliability and build quality. And if this feels like near perfection, the final car redefines what still feels new truly means. Number 1. Lexus LS 430, 4.3-liter V8. It was engineered to be the best luxury car in the world. Not the loudest, not the flashiest, but the most complete. And somehow, that ambition made it easy to overlook. When the LS 430 arrived, it didn't chase trends, it erased them. At its peak, this car felt unreal. The V8 barely whispered. The cabin sealed off the outside world like a private room. Leather aged gracefully. Buttons still respond with precision decades later. Nothing rattles. Nothing begs for attention. It simply works. But then, luxury changed. Screens grew bigger, complexity multiplied, costs climbed. The LS 430 quietly exited, leaving behind a standard no one could easily replicate. Few realized it at the time, but this was the high point of over-engineering. A car built with almost irrational care. One that still feels new because it was never rushed. Recommended year, 2006, consistently ranked among the most reliable luxury cars ever made. And now you see it. This wasn't just a countdown. It was a reminder of when cars were built to last.